West Coast Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please give yourself a warm welcome. We are here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, talking about audio design. Today, we're going to be getting into Ableton Live once again. It's my DAW of preference, but if you also like Logic or Pro Tools, we teach that at sf.garnishmusicproduction.com. Thank you to the Garnish Music Network for inviting us out again. And just wanted to give a shout out and a little link to our website. Check out sf.garnishmusicproduction.com. We have all of these classes going on year round in DJing, mixing and mastering, sound design. And it's a pretty awesome program for pennies on the dollar compared to the alternatives out there for in-person boutique music production school. Let's go back into Ableton here. Excuse me. Today, I'm going to be getting into doing a mix. This is a live show and that I'm mixing down. And today I'm going to get into the final little parts of bouncing it down, talking about a little bit about the post-production, what do we do with the waveform? How do we organize it? Because a lot of the time you guys can create a lot of music out there, but the more music you create, the more you have to organize, find the files, and then organize how do people listen to it. So I'm going to get into a little bit of that today. Haven't really talked about different digital distributions, things like that, but we'll talk briefly about that as well. So we are in session view. And as you can see, this orange area right here is showing that I have a push 2 connected to it. So if you have a push device, right, that's how you can kind of see where you're at. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is this little blue box. If you don't have this blue box, that's because I have CliffX installed on my Ableton 11. So it's going to look a little bit different for that reason. If you haven't got into CliffX or checked it out, definitely check that out. CLYPHX. And it essentially is a language that you can pretty much type in here commands to do computer programming within in your digital audio workstation of Ableton Live. Pressing tab, going over to arrangement view. What we have here is the Honey the Heart and Heather Normandale live Leonard Cohen tribute show that we multi-track recorded. Everything's grayed out here. If that ever happens to you, you can ungray it out just by this little click right up there. And now you're listening to arrangement view. You can zoom in. You can see that all of these start times and stop times are already marked with the song names. There's a couple things like guitar solo here, charango solo here. So a couple of cues. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be listening to specific parts of the mix and then bouncing the song down. These have been mixed for quite a while already. I haven't really fine-tuned it with a comb, and I probably won't get that fine-tuned just because it's a live show and we want to mix this pretty fast. We've put in a couple of different things here, such as our vocal rack that we like on specific channels, and briefly customize it. We have some automation, anything with a red dot. I'll move over here so you guys can see this. This red dot right here and this gain. Anytime you see a red dot on anything, right, even over here, that's automation is on that channel. If I click A, you can see what the automation on those channels are, right? So it just boosts up right there just a little bit for that vocal. Let's go ahead and listen to this a little bit, and we'll see where we go from there.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, all of you. One by one, the guests arrive. I guess I'll come through.
We already have an ozone on here.
Open-hearted many, broken-hearted few, and no one knows where the night is going. No one knows why.
I'm noticing that our CPU is pretty high up here. So what I'm going to do is Command, comma, and we'll just look at our preferences here really quick. going to change this 128 sample buffer size rate to all the way up to 1024. So it'll be nice and processed. Much better. We're at 26 now. It's nice just to A/B it with or without. Pretty quiet without that.
Those who dance begin to dance, and those who weep begin. Welcome, welcome, cries a voice, let all my guests come in. And no one knows where the night is going. No one knows.
Kind of warming up that low end just a little bit. That width really helps out. Bring that across. If you have stereo headphones on or something, that'll definitely help out with listening to these features. This is Ozone 9 Elements. It's a Waves mastering. These are just different ways of looking at the spread. Kind of cool to see how much that changes, right? When you kind of make the width really small, very monotone, right in the center. This is really giving spatial dynamics. Big change on there.
And all at once the torches flare, and a door flies open, and one by one they enter there in every style of passion. Though they
That's a part where Marin dropped the device and we kept going.
Yeah, we don't want to miss that verse. It's too good.
Here they take their sweet
You can really listen to each side.
and one by one the guests cast beyond garden wall. And those who dance begin to dance, and those who weep begin, and those who wordlessly are lost and lost again. No one knows where the night is going. No one knows why the wine is flowing. Oh, love, I
Changing up how much stereo there is.
need you, I need
The analog definitely warms it up more.
guess right.
All right, so if we like any of these settings here, we can just go ahead and save them.
Broken hearted me.
So we can go ahead and
Open
save this preset as
and no
HN.
one knows where the night is going. No one knows why the wine is flowing.
So since we have that saved there, now we can go through and just compare it to different masters. So really, I pulled it up quite a bit.
So 2 years ago, when the Leonard Cohen Fest was at the Swedish American Hall, I had the pleasure of singing this next song with these two lovely people.
Pulling that
Sisters of Mercy.
gain
It's
up.
been one of my favorite Leonard Cohen songs.
So really, it's kind of hard to find anything to compare it to.
The Sisters of Mercy, they are
Just because this one's so much louder. But that's what we really needed to get it up to a mastering level.
They were waiting for me when I thought that I.
Okay, so we have, we looked at Ozone 9 Elements mastering on our master chain here. So that's something that I would put on, or we also have this crystallizer over here. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the area of this song that we're going to be dealing with and look at our fades on our master channel. Okay, so I'd like to have this be a nice fade in, fade out. So starting right here, I'll just drop that. And then if you hold down the Alt key, you can bend it.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Olivia.
All right. So that's a pretty good fade. We'll do a little more so her voice is in there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being.
All right. So you can really zoom in and really get that fine detail, but
Thank you so much for being here tonight, Olivia.
so that's the mastering of the front of the track. And then on the back of the track, right, this is our fade in, fade out. We're really choosing when and how it stops. And this could probably even come back a little bit. And the same thing out. Let's say we put a new one right here. And you can do two different directions, right? That down, that there. How much applause? You really want to make sure that you don't change your master. All right, this would be really at 0 right there, as best you can. So we're working on the master chain right now. I really don't think that this fade is helping us at all to be in that direction. Maybe it'll go like that. Doesn't sound good really anyway, but now we can change this ending point to be more precisely there. Great. So now, when we zoom back out, we have our start and stop. So let's go ahead and how we would bounce this down now, okay? So we just highlight that area and Command R, Shift R. And depending on if you want an MP3 or a wave, right? We're going to do a wave this time. And export. All right, so I'm doing no normalization. Everything is already mastered. So this, I want to, this is talking about the organization of it, okay, is where you put your files. So I have an external drive here. I have my active projects folder. I also have some main projects, Justin Ancheta Band and Honey the Heart. So I have their own working folder. It's for 2021. I'm gonna have to update that soon. Okay. And then we have all of our different working folders inside here. Okay. And Leonard Cohen Hoth project right there. Okay, and now it says show all. So these are all the MP3s that were bounced here in this folder. What I'm going to do is put all those MP3s in its own folder and all waves in a different folder. And what is our song name? The Guest. Okay. So new folder is going to be Wave Leonard Cohen. Mixes 01. Okay. So I'm putting 01 here because we're going to have actually other mixes coming out as well. Actually, I'll just put all of them in here. But what I do is I do create a 01, 02 version as they get updated. And now it's in here. Let's go ahead and just, it's going to be Leonard or the Guest. And I should actually call this master, as a matter of fact, because I put the mastering chain on master 01 because we're just wanting to bust this out quickly. Let's go ahead and now save that. So WAV files do take longer to render when you export the audio. I'm put it at 48,000 hertz, which is what it was recorded at. And CD quality is at 44.1, just below that. You can actually go up to 96 or even above, which is a sample of a song that has more ones and zeros. It's more precisely the original sound. Something just to consider when you are mixing music or when you're recording music is what you're recording your fidelity is at, right? So back in the day, they had some pretty low standards of recording quality. However, on vinyl, actually there is no cutoff point on vinyl, or it's going to be way above it, an album or a CD, which is 44.1. Even though there's a little bit of that vinyl sound hissing in the background, if you have different overtones, right? Overtones that maybe we can't even hear, but it's emitting out of that instrument or voice, the vinyl is going to pick it up a little bit more. Going at 48K is good enough because it's going to be mostly people will be doing MP3 version, which is like 16K. Album CD 44.1 or the 48. You can you get that version of the waveform when you download it from things like Bandcamp per se. I believe SoundCloud as well, but other ones such as Spotify is MP3 quality. There's a lot using MP3. Even when they say it's like the best kind of MP3, it's still going to be, in that it's going to be below 20K in your hertz range of what the audible area or what the feeling, right? What you can feel through the music potentially if you really have it playing through good speakers. That's another thing to consider. If you have some bad speakers, you're not going to hear the other sounds anyway. So people that want to hear at a higher fidelity, not only do you have to record at a higher fidelity, but you have to have playback speakers that can handle that. We have some 802 Nautilus, pretty expensive speakers at Soul Graffiti Studios, and we're looking at them playing up to 30K, right? Which is pretty amazing. But in all reality, how many speakers can actually play those higher overtones? So we just bounced this one song. we just talked about a couple of things on, the fidelity of it, and but it's also the organization, right? So how we're going to go in here, I'm going to just give you guys a look at my folder organization. So I recorded everything into this file here. We have some sample backing type stuff. And then we have Who by Fire, which we used for the show. And here we are with the waveforms, right? Our first one right there. If you have a list of songs such as we do here, and you want to kind of bring these all into their own folder, let's go ahead and do that. List. All right. Show all. And we're going to change this to kind. Let's go ahead and just select all these. Right click up here, new folder. And these are the MP3s. MP3s. Leo Cohen. All. Okay, so as we go through this, we're going to keep going into this folder right here. Once you have it already set for a folder, it should stay in that folder. So it's kind of nice to bounce all these at the same time. I'm going to go to the next song here and just do the exact same thing by pressing A for automations and see what's going on. So we have a couple automations here that we already kind of liked, right? Of how we faded in and faded out. You can go ahead and just copy, Control Z. Control Z. I keep moving it instead. There we go. So I want to copy this area, Command C, zoom back out, and go to the very beginning of the next song and plop it in there. And I'll probably put it, I like having a little more space of silence to really hear that. So then you can listen to that change. And as that's going on, we can also take our next one. Sisters of Mercy. So it kind of took out the in the very beginning. So that's going to change our slope just a tad bit. She just doesn't say the Sisters of Mercy. Cool, that's a good fade out. And let's do our fade in. Sorry, that's a fade in, and we're going to do our fade out now. And there we are. It's right on that line. All right, so a nice fade out. And we can go to our endpoint and Command Shift R. Now all of our settings are the same, right? Sample rate 48 and encode PCM on. So this is saying it's going to change it to a wave at 24. We're not going to dither at all. And export. And this one now is Sisters of Mercy. Your ending is all already going to be the same, right? So that master 01 and pressing save. All right. So that'll be rendering out for a little while here. What we're doing with this phase of the production is that we have our MP3s that we rendered out, just to kind of get a general mix and listen, not really worrying too much about the fidelity. But now we're doing a few more mixes or masters, I would say, at the waveform so that we can listen with our friend Oz Fritz to the mix. It's one request that he had is listening to the waveforms versus the MP3s. And that's just because his ear is trained so much that he might actually listen to the mix a different way, hearing things, sounding off or out that could be just fixed by bouncing it at a higher fidelity. So that's why we're doing that right now. And this is going to just take a little bit longer. So I might as well talk to you guys a little bit more about our program at SFGarnish Music Production and the Garnish Music Network. We just had somebody have this request where they were going to take a class at our location in San Francisco and there was another class they wanted to take, DJing class, and they're like, "Hey, I'll be in Nashville soon, and I found out you had a place to take classes out there. Can I take the next course out that way?" And the answer is yes. There's locations in 8 places worldwide. They're all connected. It's kind of like a franchise, and we are the SF branch. And we have online and in-person classes in all the different digital audio workstations, mixing and mastering, sound design, beat making. And we'd love to help you with your music. So contact us, 510-463-4769. And so that just bounced out our mix right here. We'll do one more of these, and then I'm just going to get into a little bit more on the music business side of things, on how you might want to release a track and where you might go for that. So the Tower song, let's see, do we have an ending there? Wow, that's a super long one. Let's see if this is all the Tower song. All right, let's go ahead and get that transition in right at the beginning of the Tower song. And you can really just place this anywhere, right? And then get it to be right in that area of where you want it. There we go. And then all these extra little doodads, you can just delete that. Oops. Control 4. There we go. 0, 0. Good. Nice little fade in there. And let's do our fade out. So right here in the bottom corner, I'll move my head so you guys can see it too, that there's some peaking going on. There's some red showing. So what I'm going to do is just add a little limiter at the very end of our mastering chain. You can actually use it inside of here as well, inside Ozone. So there's a little bit of peaking on that chain. I would like to, I'm just going to go ahead and bring my other screen down here because it has the drop down right here. It has this corner area, right? I want to show you guys some of that stuff when I'm dropping things in, such as a limiter. Yeah. Well, so we'll put a limiter right on the master chain. I just pressed Shift Tab to get over to this other feature over here. And it just has a ceiling right there at 0.3. Let's hear that again.
This is where I'm just playing my red every day in the tower. I'm just playing my red every day in the tower of song. I'm just playing my red every day in the tower of song.
What I'm going to do is take off these headphones that I've been using a little bit to mix in, and I'm going to really listen more through the Rocket 5s I have here just to get a better playback of the low end. It won't change anything on your side, but really when you're mastering, you really want to hear something of the lows. I want to make sure that there's also some really good on the drums all. I think the limiter right here really can help out. Just making sure how much that's engaging. So I'm looking at the drums all kind of group. Anything that's grouped, I'll have it in the capitals. So helps out to have the organization. Okay, limiter's not quite working that hard on over there. What sound is changing here? All right. Command 4 is a nice feature. Let's see. Really gets you off grid or on grid. I'll just draw this really quick and bring this back up to nominal. I think from 10 on, it's a kind of a cool feature where you can right click and actually say edit value and go precisely to the spot you want. Just in case you're at that 0.1 off or whatever, you can always just write that in. Okay. So we have the out right there and we got our in. And essentially what I want to do is make sure that I have my start and stop points really on the right little cue points. So let's go ahead and just any channel works. You just highlight like that and Command Shift R, rendering wave. And this is the Tower of Song. So right away, all we have to change right here is the title, Tower of Song. And the other ones are in here, right? So I think we're going to do probably 5 of these today. I probably won't do all of them with you guys. Totally not necessary. But as you can see, just the organization of bouncing down to a specific folder that is within your working projects folder. Maybe you have some video to go with that, something like that. Really helps out with the post-production and just coming back to what you want to work on when you want to work on it. And then when you're ready to upload, you know exactly where those files are. And that's the next part of today that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about is I just had a phenomenal experience with Bandzoogle. There's no paid advertisement from them at all. I've been avoiding things like Bandzoogle or different Bandcamp or Reverb Nation hosting my website. I really wanted to be like the websites. I'm in control of my own destiny. So I used WordPress. I had friends and cohort, creating these special websites. Some of them actually still exist and are really good. The JustinAnchetaband.com, soulgraffiti.info. Thank you, Garcia and Damien, for that. The most recent thing I noticed with the honeyoftheheart.com website was that our WordPress wasn't updated in the past year and a half. Things were breaking. It was really difficult to just make a post, have the right coloring, the right spacing, and it just started to deteriorate the visual of it. We went to Bandzoogle yesterday thinking we might invest in it. And literally by 8 hours in, we had our full new website with content. You can go there, you can download and purchase. And if you even sign up for the email list, there's a little free download code that you'll get. So our website is actually more functional within just 1 day of work transitioning over. We spent, so many days on that WordPress, and we already have something better because of Bandzoogle. So like I said, that's just one thing that I would do if you were going to produce or to start promoting your music, is to get a domain. I've got it through GoDaddy, and then you connect your DNS server directly to whoever is your hosting site in Bandzoogle. There's an easy way of just copying and pasting your DNS server site information in, and it works. It takes about 48 hours to take that security warning off, and then it's a secure site with your own domain hosting without having to say Bandcamp or Bandzoogle on it. It just is straight honeyoftheheart.com. And so I'm just going to talk about a release that we just did today. Obviously, we bounced down similarly the tracks in Ableton like this, or Pro Tools for the matter, that Oz was working on that one. But I do want to go into just the website I was talking about and how simple it was to get that going on. So let me just go ahead and change it up. Here we are. Okay. So here's the new website. Notice up here in the upper area, I'm just going to zoom into this. So you guys see it says not secure, right? Eventually in the next 24 hours, it's going to say HTTP, and that warning will go away. Okay. But it does that as there's a new DNS routing that we just changed. So that's one thing to consider. And so this is a Bandzoogle site. Our old site, I wish I could show you, but we actually rerouted this, and our old site I don't have actually access to in this moment, but no worries. We were able to get all of our social media up here, even our links to more than social media, our tickets, our store page. When we go to our music page, one thing I like about Bandzoogle actually is right here, you can actually play a song and then right away just listen to it and start cruising around the whole website, right? All of our posts are starting to look organized down here. This is literally just about 3.5 hours of working on the website, honestly. There was a lot of back energy put into our WooCommerce, our Stripe connect. I think it was Stripe actually, and PayPal connected to it, making sure that our store page also is connected. So Bandzoogle makes it really simple and easy. I do know some HTML coding, but you don't have to create your own website via Bandzoogle. It really, I think it was a dream of mine years ago, like helping artists with easy access to templates for your band so that you can, make your music and not have to spend so much time on this. Bandzoogle's got that figured out for you. And then you just got to create all your social media, put your links in here, make sure that it really connects so that you can go to it. And let's just see if this connects to the right page here. So right away, this is our Spotify link, and it's just taking some time. I've noticed that Spotify actually has not been consistent with loading, which is quite unfortunate. It says user up here as well. I think I would like that to be probably a little different. So this is the page it's supposed to be. So just to talk about how simple it is, go link to artist page. It copied it to clipboard. And this is essentially what we'd be doing on the back end, right? Okay. Let's see if I can just do that. All right. So it looks like we don't have the right link in our Spotify on that page. So I'm just going to go ahead and walk through just updating it and how simple it is. Because I've just been, I think that Bandzoogle's got something figured out. And you guys, if you guys are about to release a song, just having a website and all links to your social media in one place and having control over it too. They have a really good back pages to that. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to go in here and go to the editor. And so this is essentially what it looks like on the back side. And I noticed this is our front page. I want to change some of these links up. Specifically, our Spotify wasn't working. I would go in here, click on that, and select it and paste in the new one that I just got from Spotify. Boom. And then save that. And as you can see, you have full access to changing your images and pictures really easily, your fonts. And it's pretty cheap as well. I think it ends up being about 16 or 17 bucks a month to have this hosting. And if you really just have your store, dialed in this way, you could actually get enough downloads. And we don't even have everything on here yet. But just so you know, we have our physical album, and then our merchandise is starting to come together, and our digital goods, not even there yet. But download it and name your price. Things like that, just super easy. Like this whole formatting is just already there for you. So last little test is I'll go to the site. I noticed that this is the link that wasn't working before. And let's see if it works now. Boom. So now we're into that connection right there. Cool. So just a couple things on creating your own website for a release. And, at the end of the day, when your website starts looking good, that's where you can start sending booking management and things like that to really get more recognition, getting better seen out there, getting better gigs. I'll just say one more thing here before we go, which is the different ways of digital distribution. It's been such a long road of changing elements. I just remember the MySpace snow-capped days of distributing music that way to CD Baby. I think the most popular at this moment is DistroKid. So if you go to DistroKid, you can, get an account and, release quite a bit per year for a decent price. And that will go through to your iTunes and your different social medias that it connects to digital distributions. I've had some good experiences and some bad experiences with digital distribution, and I'll just stick with DistroKid. Has been consistent so far, and I just hope that nothing can change to make it worse and it gets better and better. So I hope you learned something today in regard to mixing down, just the basic fade in, fade out techniques, copying and pasting to new channels on a mastering track. I'm going to go back to that track while I'm talking about it. And just knowing that at a live show, this is essentially how you can keep it in arrangement view and have that order of all of them and put your automations in to change per song, right? Because you still want some changes per song and specific vocal lines and instruments and leads. You can still have those changes and then mismaster it from those start and stop points, bringing in your fades right here. And so we're going to do a lot of different things like this. We just did one with podcasting and mixing that. If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe, share, and follow. We are on our Twitch page, Facebook, YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you again in the near future. My name is Justin Ancheta from Soul Graffiti Productions and SFGarnish Music Production for West Coast Wednesdays. Every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Give yourself a warm round of applause as we take it out here for another day. Take care.